everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. I'm so glad you're joining me. Today I want to share with you some projects using the Simon Says Stamp April 2023 card kit. It's called Poppy Perfection. We're going to go over everything that's in the kit real quick, and there's lots, and then we're going to jump in and create some cards using it. First, you get your sucker. Love that. We'll have that little treat later on. You get some colored pencils I'm excited to try. These are Colorista pencils by Spectrum Noir. So I haven't tried these. I have a set that I use that I haven't actually used in a while. So this is the Bright and Vivid. And I'm excited to give these a try for our poppies today. We also get some reverse tweezers. This is nice that Simon included this because it's a stash builder, and reverse tweezers are always nice for intricate areas or even picking up sequins and laying in them. Speaking of sequins, we get some gold mix sequins. These are gold. They're really pretty, different sizes in here, and it has a little bit of an iridescent tint to them. You also get a junior mesh bag. Simon mesh bags are really nice quality. You kind of can feel the quality, and your pencils will fit in the mesh bag beautifully for storage. So that is included this month. Love storage and craft essentials. You also get a beautiful poppy stamp set. This is a 6x8 stamp set. It's called Poppy Perfection. Love the sentiments in here. And you get a Simon Says Stamp storage pouch that will fit your stamp set beautifully. This is a storage envelope. Last month during the release, I showed you them, I believe, and your stamp set will fit perfectly in here. And I really love the quality of these storage envelopes. So that envelope's included. You get two envelopes. One is a slate colored mini slimline, and it is the peel and stick. And then you get a peel and stick white envelope that's A2. You get some foam strips, great for shakers, but also great for small detailed areas. Love this. You get a whole package of transparent layers. Now, transparent layer is these are really pretty. Look how pretty this is. Isn't that gorgeous? There's 9 rectangles, 3 circles in here. And these are what they look like on the back. So you get a full package of these. These are from Tim Holtz Ideology. And then you get 12 pattern papers. And these are from Moto Scrap. They're single-sided. And so I just love these pattern papers. These are gorgeous. We're going to use a lot of the pattern papers. Usually when I create my cards, I kind of have a theme that I go. And I think we're going to go with the pattern papers. You also get 3 sheets of cardstock. These are all 8.5 by 11. You get the slate that matches your envelope beautifully. You get lipstick red, and then you get 110-pound Nina Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. So I'm going to trim down some card bases and some pattern papers, and we're going to start by doing a little bit of stamping and coloring. I'll be right back. For card number 1, I have these 2 pattern papers. What we're going to do is I'm going to lightly tack them. Well, we don't need to tack them together. And then I have a stitched rectangle. I'm going to line this up at the very corner. And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, both of these papers at one time. Okay, so we have 2 panels. One is slightly shorter than the other. I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner. And we're going to adhere both of these together. Wonderful. And then this is the tone-on-tone red stripe paper. This is eventually going to go here, but I do want to tuck an image underneath here. I thought it would be really pretty to create a black and white image using our poppy stamp set. So in our stamp set, I'm going to be using this poppy here that has kind of the curve to the left, and then we're going to use this leaf here. I'm going to stamp this on some white cardstock. And I'm just going to use my Memento ink because it dries really fast. And then I'll stamp the leaf, but I'm going to attach the leaf directly to my image here. I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors, and I'll fussy cut out my image. My image is fussy cut out, and again, I'm leaving this black and white. And I'm going to take this and we're going to pop this up. I'll use, since we have a thin poppy stem, I'm going to use one of our included foam squares. The one on the end is really thick. I'm going to go on the other side. We'll just add this. And I know I have to skip an area. When I put the foam adhesive, you see I skipped an area because it's going to go right over my stemmed area. We're going to remove the release paper. And we'll add that over the seam, and I'll just trim away the excess here. We're going to use It's Your Day. We'll stamp this right above that border. Wonderful. I trimmed down my slate cardstock into quarters. This one measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. So it's going to leave me a white border on my card base. We're going to adhere this to the front of the card. We're going to adhere this to the center of our card. For bells and whistles, we're going to bring in our sequins. And that will finish card number 1. For my next card, we're going to stamp and color in using our colored pencils. For this card, I'm going to use the not that poppy. I think we're going to use the poppy that has the straight stem. I'm just going to stamp this on some white cardstock. And I'm going to zoom in and play a little bit of music while I color my poppy using our Colorista pencils. Now the colors that I'm going to be using are both the greens. And then I'll use the orange, the pink, and the red for this poppy. coloring is all done. Now for the center of my poppy, I'm going to bring in my memento marker, and I'm going to make my poppy have a black center. And I'm going to go over the center area of my poppy here, just so it stands out. And then I'll fussy cut this out. And while we're fussy cutting, I'm going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. For this card, I want to make a happy birthday card. So we'll stamp happy birthday. And I'm going to fussy cut out around my happy birthday also. I fussy cut out my happy birthday so that my sentiment's ready to go. And then using my stitched rectangle dies, I created a window frame. I just layered them together with the pattern paper. Actually, it wasn't with this one, it was with the largest. And I created my frame. And then I took one size slightly smaller and cut out a rectangle with this pattern paper. So this is going to layer on the inside. It's going to, so you can see what's around it. I wanted to have some gray on the inside. I already put foam adhesive behind it. We're going to layer a card front panel to our card base using our slate cardstock. And then I'm going to layer my frame. Remove the release paper and I'll layer my frame. And then this panel I'm going to directly adhere to the center. Okay, we're just going to finish off the center so we have a little bit of dimension on our cards. Now I went ahead and used my slate cardstock and I die cut out a leaf flourish using a Simon die. This is the Winsome branch. I thought a leaf in the background would look really pretty with this pattern paper. And what we're going to do is add a little bit of glue at the very end here. Well, let's just use our reverse tweezers. I'm going to take my Winsome branch and I'm going to layer this right down the center of my frame. Next, we're going to take our poppy. And I want a little dimension to this. And I love that not only are the foam strips great for shakers, but it's also great for these skinny flower stems. I'm just going to trim away some of the excess. Actually, I'm going to put this piece behind my happy birthday. Actually, no. Yeah, we'll put it over here. I'm going to remove the release paper and we will add our poppy. I want to add it right down the center. Next, I'll remove the release paper off of my happy birthday. And we can add the happy birthday right over the stem on our window. Now after we have this done, all I'm going to do is go over my flower with my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. So our poppy has a little bit of sparkle to it. And that will finish off. I don't want to put any sequins. I think there's a lot going on here, but that will finish off card number 2. For my next card, we are going to stamp, we're going to use our watermark ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder, one of our sentiments here. I'm going to heat emboss Love and Hugs. I'm going to treat I did cut out a circle with our slate cardstock. I'm just going to treat my paper with my anti-static powder. and I'll ink up Love and Hugs. I'm going to stamp it more towards the top because we're going to stamp our sentiment on a strip and stick it right below it. Okay, I'm going to use my tweezers, my handy tweezers, and we are going to go over our Love and Hugs. We'll just tap away the excess. I'm going to go ahead and melt that embossing powder. Wonderful. And then on some white cardstock, I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says, "From all of us." And I'm going to use my black ink for that. I'm going to block this off with my paper trimmer. Now this card's going to be pretty easy. I'm going to bring in our paper. And in our paper, I'm going to use the very front page. This one here. And I'm going to use my paper trimmer. Trim that down. After we have our paper trimmed, I'm going to take this and I'm going to adhere this to a piece of slate cardstock. I want a little less than 1/4 of an inch showing. I'm going to bring back my paper trimmer. And then I'm going to adhere this panel to my card base. We'll put this right down the middle. I'm going to wipe away that embossing powder. Next, I'll flip this panel over. We're going to use some foam squares. And then we'll add this down the center. Next, I'll take my Love and Hugs. We're going to use one more of our foam strips. This is where that thicker one will come in handy. I'll just remove the release paper and we'll tack From all of us right down the middle. And that finishes off that card. For my final card, I did a little bit of coloring off camera, but I just did the same coloring that we did in our previous flower with our colored pencils and used my black marker for the center here. To save a little bit of time, I just skipped that step. But I did cut out a circle that will fit behind this transparent layer. And we're not going to make a shaker with this today, but I do want to stamp my sentiment under here and then layer this on top. Now I use tape behind here. I don't suggest that at all because I don't know if you can tell, but there are some areas where my tape runner picked up the transparency. So I suggest not using your tape runner. I'm going to tack this down. I'm going to take a piece of foam, put it behind my transparent layer, and that's good to go. Now for my card base, we created a standard A2 size card. This is 4 1/4. This is 4 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches tall. We're going to go ahead and adhere this to the center. And then I have a strip of the real pretty poppy print. We're going to add this all the way to the left. And then I trimmed down a real thin strip with the leftover cardstock. I'm going to use a thin bead of glue over that poppy print, and then we're going to adhere our slate right over the seam. I need to trim it. I changed my mind with the print. I actually want it this way on my card. So instead of, Simon's adhesive is very strong, so instead of picking up the adhesive, I'm just going to trim off my card front panel, grab another card base, and then we can adhere this, but I want to adhere it this way on my card base. I'm just going to use my glue. So if you ever want to switch it off on your card bases, just cut the top panel around. And I think the side's going to work out better. Now I'm going to take my my transparent film, and I'm using my sending as a guide, knowing that it's straight. I'm going to tack this down, and then I'm going to trim off the area that's overhanging. I'm going to take my poppy. I'm going to add some foam tape. Let's go ahead and use our foam strips. I'm going to add one over here. The areas that were over here in the poppy area, I went ahead and doubled up on that foam adhesive. That way everything is one layer higher and nice and even. Okay, we are going to go ahead and add a few sequins. I call them sequins, but they're clearly confetti. I think that's the perfect amount. Just going to put these back. And of course, if you wanted to turn that into a shaker, you very well could. And then that will finish off my final card today. Let's take a look at all cards, all 4 cards we created with the Simon Says Stamp April 2023 card kit. It's called Poppy Perfection, and I hope you get a chance to check it out, and I hope this gives you a few ideas on how to create with it. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.